Hi Flosstube, my name's Jess and I'm Cross Stitch Jess here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. My pronouns are she and her, and this is my place where I talk about cross stitch. That wasn't, once again, obvious from the title. I'm trying something a little bit different today in terms of setup. I've got my laptop hooked up so that I can have my camera facing the other way, but I can still see if my hair is a mess. Because editing the last one was painful, where I had like a full-on tuft of hair thing going on, and I did not realise it because, yeah. But I do have some quite like small, teeny tiny stitching to show you today, so having the camera this way around feels worth it. But yeah, if I keep like, my eyes are always over here, it's just out of habit, looking at the moving version of me on the screen. It's been a while. It's been a whole month? Maybe it has at this point. I don't know because my calendar's on my phone. I think after Monogamous May, I wouldn't say I was burnt out, but I got very stuck into other hobbies. So I've finished a whole book since the start of May, which I know people read like tons of books in a month, but for me it was like a slab of a book, and I was intentionally reading it slowly so that I could enjoy it rather than blitzing through the whole thing. Like normally I would just sit and read until I ran out of book, and you just wouldn't see or hear from me for like 2 days, but this was like, it was nice. It was a nice change. I also got really into a computer game on Steam called Blueprints, as in prince with a crown, like king in waiting, but is a pun on blueprints, as in plans, like architectural blueprints. If you like puzzle games, solid 10 out of 10. I am very addicted. I would definitely recommend go check it out. Prepared to just have no life for like a couple of weeks. But I think I'm getting towards the end of that. And honestly, also we had a heat wave, and I just like, this sofa is lovely. It's nice and cozy. But in the summer when it's hot, I can't sit here for more than like half an hour at a time. Just because it absorbs your body heat and then reflects it back at you. It just, I don't deal well in the heat. But in general, like the combination of those things and life just being really busy means I've not stitched very much. I kept putting off doing this because I didn't think I had much to show you, and then I realised actually I did have quite a bit to show, and I had technical issues with setting up the whole laptop thing. I have to say thank you to Danny, Sarcastosaurus on Instagram, and Flossie Raptor, I believe she is, on Flosstube. Go give her a follow. She was originally my cross stitch saga fairy. Now she's just my cross stitch anything technical fairy. So yeah, she answered my question from my previous video about how to set up the laptop, and then helped me when I couldn't get it working, and gave me lots of encouragement, and yeah, cheered me on from the sidelines whilst my laptop did an entire Windows reload and then 2 days worth of updates to be able to get this to work. So yeah, thank you Danny, my absolute angel. But yeah, so life was really busy. I was all over the place. I didn't realise that I'd stitched a little bit on a bunch of different things at different points in time. But it does mean I now have quite a lot to show you. Okay, the first thing that I have to show you is some giveaways. So these are from my 1k subscriber giveaway, which I think is 3 videos ago now. But last video I announced the winners for 2 of these, and they haven't been claimed yet. So this first one was a Bothy Threads kit. Oh, the glare is bad. This one was won by Kelly Smithurst. What was the number? 5348. So Kelly, please drop me a message and I will get this one posted to you. The second giveaway was the Talking Dog Stitchery £10 voucher. Again, this one hasn't been claimed, so Mamgus Attic, please drop me a message. Instagram is probably the easiest. and yeah, let me know your email address so I can send that over to you and you can shop for your goodies. And then lastly, this one, I just completely forgotten that I was giving it away. So I didn't actually announce who won this one because I didn't draw them. So I've gone back and drawn a name. The magic word for this was meta, and the winner was Sally Ann Cole 2447. So Sally or Sally Ann, let me know, drop me a message on Instagram, and I will get this one posted to you as well. Cool. I've crossed one thing off the list. There's a lot. I've had to put everything in a box because it was falling off my sideboard individually. So the next couple of things I have to talk about are some organisation that I did when I wasn't feeling very into actually stitching. The first is my swatch box. It's finally done. Oh, get it all in. So these are, for anyone who hasn't seen these on a previous video, these are bobbins, but instead of using them to store floss, I've intentionally put like a single layer of thread on them. Basically, this is my alternative to the DMC swatch book. The upside being that I can put colours together, so I can kind of go do these, oh god, that way, do these work together, or if I want, I don't know, if I need to substitute and I'm not sure which of two colours to substitute, I can hold them with the other colours in the pattern to sort of see how they look together, without having to faff with getting out my like master set. Now that these are done, I've sorted them by colour, so you've got sort of purples into blues, blues back up into greens, greens into yellows. I've sort of switched order now. Yeah, well, yeah, sort of, I guess these are still greens. Yellows, oranges, pinks into reds, and then the black, white and greys and the browns side here. So it's the full master set now, and I am so happy it's done. If you are thinking of doing this, my top tips, if you store your floss on bobbins anyway, this isn't such a problem. If you do it on floss drops, it might be. Each one of these required more than a standard length of floss that I have on a floss drop, so I needed to do all of these from fresh skeins to be able to have enough thread to cover the whole card. So if you're doing them from floss drops, like, I mean, I did mine gradually as and when I got new colours, I added them in, and I was very fortunate to get a bumper sort of boost of threads when a shop was shutting down and selling their DMC cheap. My other tip is buy all of your bobbins in one go so that they're all the same size. I've got like 3 different sizes in here, and at the very end I was being particular enough that I trimmed some of them to make them the same size as the majority of the rest. There is part of me, there are some of these where the bobbins are much bigger, and there is part of me that wants to go through and remove the thread and put them on ones that match the rest. But for now, it's done. And I'm not touching them again for a while. So that's one thing. The other thing that I've sort of alluded to there is I have also finished my master set. I can't really show you that because it's in storage underneath this Kaylux drawer, and also it's not that easy to show. If you are interested in that, I do show it and talk about it in my craft stash tour video, which I will link somewhere, probably in the description, but also maybe here's a button, because I think that's a thing that I can do now. But yeah, I love my Annie's Keepers. I love my hanging floss set. I am really happy to have a full DMC set now. It does mean that theoretically I can buy most DMC based patterns and I should just be able to stitch them without needing to buy more stuff. Will it stop me buying more stuff? Absolutely not. You're going to see in a minute that I have promptly planned a new start where I have gone and bought all the new stuff, but in theory, less shopping required from this point onwards. The third floss organisation thing that I have done is I have gotten round to putting threads into my floss roll. So for anyone who's not come across these, because admittedly I'd only come across them once before buying one, this is a floss roll. I guess it's kind of similar to the idea of storing your threads in a project bag, but this is specifically designed to manage threads that are on floss drops. So if I hold it up close, you can see it's got these metal rings in the fabric and then a binder ring clipped onto it. I've then put 3 Annie's keepers onto each one. Am I going to be able to show that? There you go, 3 Annie's keepers. Oh, wrong way. We go on each one. And for ease, what I've then done is braided those 3 together. So use essentially each floss drop as one strand of the braid. I've done that for an entire project, an entire Gecko Rouge. So these are my threads for Love by Zazak Namu, I think his name is, or Eruda Art. This is Love, or for Love, should I say. And yeah, but I've been putting off working on it because I hadn't finished organising all the flosses, even like within the kit itself. So I was kind of only wanting, I didn't want to have to sit down and do like one thread at a time because I needed it. I would rather have done the whole lot and then be able to just work from it in one go. So I think I'd done like up to maybe 25 on the floss cards that came in the kit. So I was basically trying to just find places to stitch those colours, and it was just getting a bit chaotic and messy, and I wanted to fill in all the small gaps with the other numbers. So now I have this, I can actually do that and work on that. I don't know when I actually will work on it, but now I can if I decide I want to. If you're interested in these, if you're in the UK, I got mine from Ladybird. I think it's Handmade by Ladybird is her sort of business name. It's really good quality, and she custom makes them, so she'll send you pictures of the fabrics she has available. I picked this gorgeous sort of watercolory rainbow one, which I thought was really nice because the artwork is kind of an aurora borealis, but it's also got pink, so there's quite a rainbow of colours in here. And I also like the idea of it being like a palette, like the mix of colours that you'd have on a paint palette. The other thing about this one, because I've gone for the double row version, you can fold the top half over and have it as like a short fat bundle rather than a tall skinny one. So it's quite handy, it's quite versatile to store it however you want. Yeah, keep mine long for now just because it won't fit in my box if it's short and fat. And then it's got a string cord thing to tie it together. There we go. Right, trying to stay organised because there is so much in this box that if I don't put it all back neatly, it's going to be a mess. Right, there are some finishes in here that I've lost. Let's rummage those out. Don't know where they've gone. There we go. Cool. So 3 giveaways, 3 thread organisation things. I now have 3 finishes or fully finishes to show you. So first up we have my Introvert-le turtle. So this little guy is, I want to say, White Raven designs, White Raven patterns. It will be on the bottom of the screen. I did adapt this one a little bit. I can't remember exactly what the original text said and whether I've just recharted it to be backstitch and to be in a different place. But my plan for this, so if you can't read it, it says, please come back later, I'm introverting. I originally came across this as part of Hoops and Crosses UK's birthday sale back in September last year, for the Introverts Unite sale. And I think one of the other stitchers shared this as one of the designs they were thinking of doing. My plan is to make this into a little flat fold, and it's then going to come to retreats with me, so that when I'm having those moments where I'm a bit peopled out and I just need a break and I don't want to be rude, but I do just need people to give me a bit of space, I can have this, and it can be like a little bit of a humorous way to be like, please come back later, or I'll come see you later, but not right now. Also very tempted to take it into work, for those days where I just don't want to have to deal with other people. Not that I don't love the people I work with, they're all very nice people, but sometimes it's nothing to do with work, it's just me. I can't people anymore. Yeah, on a similar work related note, because this one's going next to my home office desk, my second finish is Ken the Frog. Oh, I'm not great yet at the where to hold things to have them in shot with the camera this way around. So this is Ken the Frog. Again, Hoops and Crosses. Well, again, this one's designed by Hoops and Crosses. The original artwork is by Abey. And again, if you can't read it, swearing warning. This one says, I have no idea what the hap is fucking. And he is going to go in a little hoop, he's not that little, and go on my hoop wall next to my desk, upstairs. Almost a bit as an ironic reminder, because I don't say this to sound smug or big-headed or whatever, but my job is quite like niche and technical, and I often need reminding that I'm quite good at it. So I feel like this is going to be a little bit of a like, lol, I actually do know what the hap is fucking most of the time. Definitely not all the time. But yeah. So those were two nice little finishes after Monogamous May. And I think that's become like a little bit of a pattern. Like I did March Madness, and when I came out of that I was like, right, need to finish something, need the dopamine. And the same for May, so that's like, it's a good thing to be aware of, I guess, that when I come out of doing a month of challenge stitching or themed stitching, that I need a little something to be like, you can get to the end of things, it doesn't always go on forever. On the note of getting to the end of things, my third finish to show you is a fully finish. So this one I picked up from Lisa, from Atelier Frames in mid-May. Yeah, mid-May, at the Sweary Stitchers retreat. This is my D&D Sal. The design is by Taylor and Cromwell, and the fabric was Kaylux fabrics. I don't think she dyes anymore though. I've adapted this one, so the original design was kind of, the layout was this top half. I've then wanted to make the most of the fabric, so I've carried it on down. And the way this one worked was, for each room size, you had a set number of options, and the idea was you roll a die like you would in D&D to choose what fill was going to go in each room. I started off that way, and then I kind of went a bit off piste and just asked my husband to pick which were his favourites from each grouping. But just to give you a bit of a close-up. So, my favourite things on this, at the bottom here, this Welcome to the Dungeon, I changed the wording. I think it was originally Welcome Adventurers, but John is a fan. I'll let you guess which band he's a fan of. But yeah, I also customised this D20. I grabbed his bag of D20 and took them over to him and was like, pick your favourite, and then I basically matched the colours. And considering I was a fairly new stitcher at the time, I don't think it's going to show up very well on camera. Let me see how good this camera does the zoom, and how good I do the coordinating. So for each of the colours, for the blue and the orange, I didn't really know about variegated floss at the time, so on the text and on the die I picked 2 different shades for each colour, and stitched with one strand of each, as essentially a blend, to give that mottled effect. Oh, scooch backwards again. So that was like, I was really proud of that as a new stitcher, like choosing my own colours and making them variegated. The dye is quite like iridescent, so that was the effect I was going for. The other one I'm quite proud of, much as I love to hate it, is the library here. This was my nemesis room. I did everything sort of up to this point and then got stuck because I didn't want to have to tackle it. And in the end, I came and did the red dragon and then came all the way across the top, and this was literally the last room I did. This does have, from memory, I might be a few off here, this has about 35 different colours of cross stitch and then another 25 colours of back stitch on the top, so it was quite intense. But I think it being the last one, I got to the point where I was like, just do it, Jess, just get it over with. And I think something I love about this particular project, I've talked about this when I've shown it before, but it's a bit of a testament to my like journey as a stitcher. So at the bottom here, I very much was following the pattern to the letter, like using 2 strands for both cross stitch and back stitch, even though this is hand dyed 18 count, so it's probably closer to 20 count. I think I kind of came up to here doing it that way, and I kind of hated the back stitch on some of them. I think it's like too chunky and messy, and it's a bit hard to see. Like, it's not bringing clarity, it's making it more chaotic and confusing, in my opinion. This little guy, I decided to just do 1 strand of back stitch. I think I switched halfway through stitching him, if I'm honest. And then for the red dragon, it was the first one where I was like, maybe I'll just use 1 strand for the cross stitch as well, and I loved it. And I literally, going from like here to here was like 2 years, and then doing the rest of it was like a couple of months, 3 months maybe. I think from this point onwards as well, I started to mess with the backstitch colour. So I quite liked how the dark red on the dragon popped. And I think that was the point where I was like, I quite like the almost cartoony vibe. So in a lot of cases actually, I think I've darkened up the backstitch so that it's got that bit more of a like cartoony vibe. But also so it's a little bit easier to depict what it is. But all in all, I'm very happy with this. It's going in our games room, or it's going at the top of our stairs on the landing next to our games room, as like a, oh, welcome to the dungeon. Not that, questioning my choice of phrasing there. Anyway, this is ready to go on the wall. I'm really happy as well with the framing. Lisa Atelier framing is my go-to. And she does an amazing job every time. Like, I love them. Yeah. Yay. Cool. Let's wedge that on that chair out of the way. Cool. So, 3 giveaways, 3 floss organising things, 3 finishes. I'm not sure if I now have 3 whips or 4. 4? 1, 2, 4. Although only because this is like my second attempt at filming this a week after I originally planned. I did originally have 3 whips, but here we go. So first one, these aren't chronological order, this is just the one that I got to the bag first. So the first one is the Cabin in the Woods. Not ironed, apologies. So I have, since the last time I've shown this, I've done the entire cabin, and I think I filled some of this green across the bottom. So not, which way am I going? That way. There we go. I'm going to get better at this, I promise. Yeah, not a huge amount done, but I think I was a bit intimidated by that cabin. It's more stitches than you think, but there's not that many colours, so it actually went quite quickly. I'm really enjoying this. It's 1/1, which is really nice and simple for me. Like, it's my happy place at the moment, and it's on effectively 20 count. I haven't actually counted. I think this started as 18 count and then got dyed 4 times over. So yeah, really loving this. I think this might become my next. So the frog used to be my, it lives in a small project bag with scissors and needle in a tin and with 2 or 3 of the thread colours, and it just meant that it was easy to just chuck in my bag. I'd take it to like hair appointments, like when my hair dye is dying, anything like that where I think I'm going to have to sit and wait somewhere. It's nice and easy because it's not that many colours. And especially this bottom banner, there's a couple of rows of like single colour, a single row of a colour, and then this bottom bit, once the flowers are in, it's just kind of fill it in. So I'm getting my hair done next Friday actually, so I might try and do some more of this top. There's 4 rows where it's like a single row of a colour, 4 different colours, and then I can just sit there and fill in this bottom bit, and I won't need a pattern to do that. Yeah, I don't think I said Flossabilities. So Lauren and Sam were the designers for that one, and the fabric is dyed by me. I think maybe 2 videos ago I talked about how I did that. If you're interested, go have a look at that. Yeah, happy days. So that is whip number 1. Whip number 2 is a teeny tiny amount of work on the work in progress. So last weekend I was away with a couple of Stitchy friends, and we were talking about metallics for something else. I think I was asking if Cromwell is the one that's really hard to get hold of now, and the girls confirmed it is. And one of them said that they had some if I needed to borrow it. It was the wrong colour, but I borrowed some to add to my metallic sampler. So for anyone who hasn't seen this before, this is a little pattern called Snip. I think it's October House Fibre Arts. It will be here. Whether I'm right or wrong, it will be there, the correct answer. What I'm doing is for each pair of scissors I'm using a different brand of metallics, basically so that I can try them all out, and I'm also taking notes on each one. So when it's finished, I'll take a photo of the finished piece, annotate it on the computer, and then print it out and basically stick it on the back of the frame, so that anytime, and it will go up on my Meta cross stitch wall right next to me, next to my stitching spot, so anytime that I am considering what metallic to use, I can pull it off the wall because it will just be command stripped up there, and I can have a look, see what kind of shininess I want. I can have a look at the notes and be like, oh, actually that one's really pretty, but it was hellish to work with, so I'm going to go for this other one instead. So far, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've used 6 so far. This one was the one that's just been added the word snip. And this one was in Cromwell that Rach very kindly lent me. I've heard a lot of people say that Petite Treasure Braid and Cromwell are basically equivalent. And in terms of how they look, I would say that they are very similar in their shininess. Cromwell I found very scratchy pulling through the fabric, and I'm very much like a textures. Texture doesn't sound like the right word, but like from a sensory perspective, I hated it. It was horrible. It constantly felt like ripping. Ripping what? I don't know, but it felt like ripping. Just thinking about it is grossing me out a little bit. It's also really like thick in the sense that it stands like it's thick away from the fabric, if that makes sense. Like it's I don't have the right words. Whereas this looks very similar but is really smooth, and I don't remember having that same scratchy, tearing, ripping feeling as I was stitching it. So for me, Petite Treasure Braid is the winner so far in terms of that kind of sparkly. My other favourite, which actually is on Cabin in the Woods as well, my go-to favourite, and I'm going to show this every time I even vaguely have an excuse to talk about it because I think not many people know about it. So this is Gutman. So this is just like sewing thread from the sewing machine rack of threads in Hobbycraft. I have no idea if you can get this in the US. I hope you can because it's great. It's very, very fine. So even on here, on like 18 count, I've stitched these with 2 strands, and I mean you can see they're like the same density as the other ones are with one. So yeah, this sort of bronze pair is the one. But yeah, if you, and it's quite nice to work with. I cut a decently long length, thread my needle on one end, and then fold the thread in half so that my needle is trapped on the loop. That's how I always stitch, not just with metallic. But it's quite nice because your needle self-centers. Yeah, works really well. 10 out of 10, would recommend. But for the standard cross stitch ones, Petite Treasure Braid is my thread of choice. So yeah, this, I'm not in a rush to work on this. It's going to be like when I'm at stitchy days and things, I will maybe ask in advance if anyone has any metallics that aren't ones that I've already tried and they're willing to bring them, that I can try a length. Just saves me buying like 12 different types of metallics and not liking most of them. So that was whip number 2. Whip number 3 is my twisted band sampler. So this one is I don't know what I was going to say. This is Northern Expressions Needleworks, I think is the designer. I have done a colour conversion, so I'm doing it in pastel rainbow colours on this piece of sort of darkish grey, and then I am planning to do the rainbow band sampler on light grey in like dark rainbow colours. That's the plan. I did start in the top left corner, but because I'm now doing it on scroll bars and the way that the diagonals go and the way the instructions have you start on the side of the bar and work up and across, it was quite awkward because I'd stitch a bit and then have to scroll and then stitch a bit and have to scroll. So what I've done instead is worked all the way down the side to this bottom corner and then across the bottom. So I've now started every single band and every single colour, and a big part of that was I kept changing my mind about what my 18 colours were, so doing this kind of forced me to stick with it. But the upside is now, as you have scroll bars, I can work on like this little band, not in the traditional band sense, but this sort of horizontal strip of all of them. And it's nice because it means I get to work with a variety of colours and a variety of stitches rather than getting burnt out on one type. And then I can scroll up a bit and do the next sort of 3 or 4 inches. And it also means I get to bring in some new stitches each time I scroll up. It means I get to finish a band or 2. So there's like a nice mix of new and finishing and variety in between. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I did have to frog. I got 2 of the colours the wrong way around. Fortunately, one of those was this, oh, not very good at the coordinating. This very bottom corner was one of the colours that was wrong. So there's only like, I don't know, 40 odd, maybe 50 stitches of that colour. And then it was the 3rd colour in, so this strip here. I have now frogged both, flipped them, and then redone most of this colour. Well, most of both colours. And I think this is about as high as I can comfortably get when it's on the scroll bars before it starts to feel like a stretch. So I'm going to work at that level sort of all the way across and then scroll up and do the next bit. I think my sidebars are only like 7 inches, so it's not like a huge section that I can reach at any given time, but that works for me. Cool, so those were the 3 whips I originally had to show you. I have since yesterday started working again on a 4th whip. So let's dig this out. I've left this with a working thread on it because I was not feeling life yesterday. I was at a stitchy day, hadn't slept very well, I didn't feel great. When I say I didn't sleep very well, like I must have slept because I don't remember my husband coming to bed, but I woke up in the morning and genuinely felt like I'd not slept the whole night, like I'd just been awake and tossed and turned the whole time. So I ended up leaving the stitch day early, unfortunately, which is why there's still a hanging thread, because I reached the point where I was done with life. Anyway, bit of a tangent. This is, just realised I put the little overlays have the picture up here, so I need to hold them on this side if I can. So this is Books Are Magic. There we go. Not great with the coordinating how to have it in screen and still be looking at the camera. Practice will make perfect, I hope. This is Books Are Magic. This is by Counting Puddles. I think I started this either as part of my 12 by 12 or my 12 Starts of Christmas. Fabric is Aztec Red by Weeks Dye Works, which I got from Talking Dog Stitchery. There are multiple sales going on for this. So there is Books Are Magic, which I think was originally a group of Australian stitchers mostly. I think now a lot of UK stitchers have gotten in on this one. And then also several of us from the Ladybird retreat back in April, we all ended up stitching on this same fabric at the same time. So we have the Aztec Red sale. Feel free to join either of those. I'll put details and hashtags and things in the bottom. But yeah, I've been stitching this where each book I add the book to the pattern when I have finished reading a book series. So, see if I can remember these. The very first one was a Maria Snyder audiobook series, Navigating the Stars. I can't remember if that's the series name or I think Sentinels of the Galaxy is the series. First book is Navigating the Stars. Favourite author, absolutely recommend. Go read them, listen to them. Anything by Maria Snyder, do it. The next one, what was the next one? I think the next one was the Scholomance series by Naomi Novik. Again, 10 out of 10, really enjoyed it. First one was a bit weird getting into, but I'm already considering re-listening to them as like a comfort thing, so yeah, definitely recommend. The third one, I'm struggling to remember what the third one was. Pretty sure it was another audiobook series, but I can't think what. And then the one that I've just finished is the Aragon book series, which I think the series name is Inheritance. Maybe that's just the last book. I don't know. Can you tell I'm rubbish with remembering names of things? Anyway, that's the book that I finished reading this month, so that is what I have started stitching this for. And this is the last book in the stack. So once I finish that, I think there's, much like this butterfly has like a silver trail, there's one from this at the bottom, and then I think it's done. Oh, there's some beads, some sparkly beads to go on, but I'm doubting myself on the ones that I bought, so they might go on, they might not. I might wait and try and get some others. But yeah, I really enjoy this one. It was a bit hard working on yesterday, the light wasn't brilliant, but now it's at home, I don't expect this will take me more than a couple of days to get finished. When those couple of days happen, your guess is as good as mine. Your guess might be better than mine, if I'm being realistic. Not in a rush to finish it, but now that I have finished that book, it probably will get done soonish. There is, I can't remember what it is, but I think it might have been a marketplace release of a bookcase with a bunch of plants and things on, as well as books. And I think it was with Rach from Talking Dog Stitchery again that I was having this conversation a while ago. I quite like the idea of stitching that, and then like as I read books during the year, stitching the book in like the colour of the cover. And maybe just putting some like little twirly bits of backstitch in whatever the text colour is to sort of loosely represent the books that I've read. I will have to go and backtrack and look for who that design was by to be able to buy it and do that. Yeah. Cool. New start and an adoption. So, a little while ago, I was watching Stitching Down the Rabbit Hole, Heidi, on Flosstube. If you haven't come across her, go give her a watch. I absolutely love her videos. And she had this project that she was saying that she's not really feeling and she didn't really want to continue with. And I really like this phrase, the beautiful things come together one stitch at a time. Again, I have my meta cross stitch wool, which is cross stitch about cross stitch. So I've loved this phrase for a while and just haven't got around to finding a pattern that I liked. So I messaged Heidi and asked if she would be open to adopting this out if she doesn't want it anymore. So she very kindly said yes and has sent this to me, and it arrived this week. I am considering how I want to continue this. I think what I'm going to do is change up the colour palette for the rest. I quite like the idea of having quite like a dramatically different colour palette, so you can almost see the two halves of where like two different stitches have worked on it. I haven't decided what that's going to look like just yet, but that is my loose plan. If you've ever done anything like that, like I guess round robins are a great example where you like ask each person to pick their own colour scheme, and that way they're like you can see where each person has worked on it. But yeah, I need to have a think about that. Alfie coming to say hello. Hi. You alright? Alfie has an ear infection at the moment, so he's in a particularly loving, please give me fuss and attention kind of mood. So I'm not sure how well this is going to go if he's going to now commandeer one of my hands for the rest of the episode. My other new thing, which I alluded to before that I've gone and bought a bunch of stuff for, is my Jolly July start. Yes, Alfie, I know you're there. Hi. Hi. So this is why I wanted the teeny tiny camera zoom in option. So this is, in fact, let me talk about it before I show it to you. I came across this designer, so Victoria's Samplers, I think. At the Jingle Ball, there was a lady in one of the chat rooms who was stitching on designs by this designer. And I went and had a look, and I very much did that thing where you go down the rabbit hole and you're like, there's lots of oohs, ahs, like I must stitch this, I love that, that's amazing. I had about 6 tabs open with different designs by the end of my my dive down their shop rabbit hole. The one that jumped out to me was these Christmas crackers. I think I just like small cute Christmas things. For anyone who wasn't here, didn't watch my videos last year, I did the Annie B's faux art Christmas stockings, and I made them like mini stuffable stockings so that you could essentially use them as a mini advent calendar. So these are the Christmas crackers. This is my first one, the angel. Ooh, suck. There we go. Sorry, Alfie is clambering on me, which is making it hard to hold this still. Yeah, so this is the first one. This is in fact the one that we were talking about Krynic because she doesn't currently have wings. What she does have is little beads. Oh, that is. There we go. And a whole bunch of specialty stitches. So I am very much enjoying this. The angel itself is 1/128 count, and then the rest is all specialty stitches. So there's a mix of like there's a few over 2 cross stitches. There is pearl cotton, there's a whole bunch of specialty threads. I've converted these from the called for into mostly Weeks Dye Works and Gentle Arts, and I think there's one Classic Colourworks that's gone in from my thread subscription, just because the conversions I did online and one of them did not turn out well. It was meant to be like in fact I think it's in her dress, it was meant to be like a blue-grey, and it was like green. I wouldn't even say a greenish grey, it was just green. But yeah, these stitch up really quickly. I'm really happy with how they're coming. I have started the snowman on the other side. There we go. He needed a lot of pearl cottons though, and at the time of starting this I did not have that part of my order. I got the pearl cottons and the beads and buttons. There are a bunch of buttons that go onto the gingerbread man, I think. They all came from Create Nostalgia, and then all of the threads and the fabric were from Rach at Talking Dog Stitchery. If you're interested in the conversion for that, let me know. I have it written down on a scrappy piece of paper somewhere. But I will happily write it up if anyone is interested. I'm planning to carry on working on those specifically during the next month because Jolly July, and because I don't really want to leave them until the last minute. I'd quite like them done so that I can turn them into little crackers and hang them on the Christmas tree. I quite like the idea of doing like a little Alfie. Oh, that was quite aggressive. Quite demanding, buddy. I like the idea of doing like a little set of ornaments of some kind each year. So like the stockings last year, the crackers this year. I'm sure I'll find something else to do in future as well. So that's, I guess, all my stitching done, and we're now into plans, which is good because we're closing in on 50 minutes. My other plan, I've ordered myself some perforated paper again. Create Nostalgia. This was like a last minute, like, oh, while I'm ordering. My plan is to make little gift tags for, find the relevant page. So I think I got this from a D-stash table, so I'm not sure like which magazine or anything it came from. But these little sort of letter snowflake, come on, focus, letter snowflake designs caught my eye, and I've really liked the idea for a while of doing some gift tags, some reusable gift tags for my family with just their first initials on. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do them yet. I might use these. In Googling like perforated paper gift tags, I came across some designs that people had done and shared online. So I don't know. I need to figure that out, but that is my plan. My other sort of Jolly July plan to start making those. So again, I'm not frantically doing them a week before Christmas. And I guess my third Jolly July, while I've got it, Alfie, can you scooch the other way? Come on, scooch over. There we go. You're not going to claw my arm off. Project bag was a gift from Sophie at Abey Textiles. It is now very overfull because I've jammed 2 projects into a very small project bag, and the crackers have a lot of threads, and you can see all the gubbins in the front here. There's 2 pearl cottons and 3 different types of beads, and yeah, the project already in there had beads as well. This blue fabric is my Quaker Snowflakes, so that might get some love this month as well as part of Jolly July. Nice. I'm enjoying like the sets of threes of everything. And then what else have we got back here in plans? So the last thing on my plans is a project. It's kind of a continuation, it's kind of a new start. Last year I did a set of blackwork tiles. They're kind of square tiles, which are magic school themed. So the designs are by Circle Cross. And there's a bit of an entertaining chain of enablement going on. So Rachel from Stitchecology was originally stitching these. I saw her stitching them all on one piece of fabric and thought they looked amazing. My husband is very into D&D. He, like, his go-to class in like D&D or LARP is a wizard. So I thought it would be great to do him this SAL. There's 25 of them in total, and I decided to do them each on a different colour of fabric and do them all like different scales, so different sizes of fabric. Some are going over 2. This one I'm doing over 3 on 18 count, so it becomes the equivalent of 6 count. But I've done a couple of them. Rachel's then seen me doing them on different coloured fabrics, and she's now restarting to do them on different colours of fabric. So we've decided to do it as a bit of a SAL. I don't think we have a hashtag or anything. But we're going to do roughly 1 a month, but like fairly low pressure, but just keep each other motivated. This one is going to be invocation, so like summoning and rituals. And interestingly, this is the fabric that my Cabin in the Woods In fact, while they're both within arm's reach, let's do a side by side. This is the same fabric that I originally started with when I went on this fabric dyeing journey. So this is how it started, this is how it ended. None of the original orange survived the initial round of blue dyeing. So all of the orange that's on here now is stuff that I've added back on. But yeah, it amuses me immensely that that went so dramatically different in the end. Yeah, I'm stitching this in pearl cotton. I can't remember which size, but for the really big ones it just adds a bit more weight to it. I think DMC on such a big scale it would make things look a bit weird. But these are only like a couple of days, so I'm hoping that will be an easy one to get done this month. Even though we're already on the 6th. That's not too bad. We've still got like 3 weeks of the month. So Jolly July and this are my immediate plans. Maybe a bit of Books on Magic, maybe a bit of Cabin in the Woods at the very least when I'm getting my hair done. Yeah, I think that's it. And then for the summer, in terms of like stitchy days and stuff, there's not as much happening now. I don't know if this is the same elsewhere in the world, but I think in the UK we tend to have a bunch of stitchy stuff sort of March through to May, and then sort of June, July and August are a lot quieter, and then you've got sort of September through to November that are quite busy again. I think I've got a stitchy day. In fact, I've got a stitchy day and then a 1-day ticket to a stitchy weekend in August, but I think the rest of July is pretty quiet. Well, pretty quiet on a stitching front. I still have plans almost every weekend day, seemingly forever, which I need to get a handle on, but that is a me problem for sure. Yeah, so a lot more that I've touched and worked on in the past month than I really realised. But I'm looking forward to having another month of sort of not exclusively working on just themed plans, like Books on Magic isn't Christmas themed and the Magic School Sal isn't Christmas themed, but like it's nice having something to give me a bit of direction. I feel like at the moment I'm at that point where my brain is so tired that any kind of decision, if it means I open my whip box and kind of go, what do I want to work on, I'm going to work on nothing, because I can't make a decision. So it's nice to have my whip list narrowed down to like 3 or 4 things to focus on. I think that's everything. If you are one of those people for the giveaways, please don't forget to message me. If you... what else? I'm sure there was something else I meant to ask. I can't remember what it is. So, yeah. If you're doing Jolly July, let me know, because I think I'm going to need stuff in my feed and stuff on Flosstube that I'm watching to sort of keep me on track with that. I'm a bit dubious about how my motivation's going to go for that one. I think I have no idea when I'm going to be back to film, because again, my calendar is on my phone. But yeah, I'll probably aim for another 2 to 3 weeks time. Hopefully a little bit less stuff next time, like a little bit more focused. Yeah, I think that's it. Happy stitching. Thank you for joining me today. Ooh, off we just startled at absolutely nothing. You gonna come say goodbye? Good boy. Yeah, happy stitching. Thank you for joining me. Yeah. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. If you are looking, this is what I live with. I can't gesture with my hands because he thinks it's calling him for fuss. Oh, my life. If you are looking for someone to go watch after this, there we go. I knew there was something. Please go watch Dobby. Covered in floss here on Flosstube. And I think she's changed on Instagram to Unapologetically Dobby. But she's had a bit of a hiatus from from Flosstube, but she recently posted a new video and fully on my lap now. Okay. Yeah, go give her most recent video a watch and send her all the love and encouragement to keep coming back because I love her videos. Happy stitching, everyone. Bye. No, I can't. Oh.